Good afternoon, Fisk University. This is the At Home on the Yard podcast powered by One Integration. And if you are an alum of our illustrious university, you could only imagine the feeling that I have in this moment to be joined by a group of our shining stars. Today, we're going to be joined by the historic Fisk University gymnast team. And so, why don't we, without any hesitation, go ahead and have Coach Tarver join us? Hello, Coach. Thanks for joining. I
Well,
want to. I want to go
go ahead.
ahead.
Sorry. Thanks for inviting us.
I've watched as close as I possibly could inside of the algorithm to figure out exactly how you guys were making this magic happen. And so, as I was watching that process take place, I was also developing a place where our alumni base could be more accessible for you and anyone else that wanted to do well by our university and our students. And so, I want to jump in first by first talking to the audience and just giving them a bit of insight into what one integration is. And so one integration is what we call responsible social media. We trademarked the term. It's called resposocial. Just this week, we saw in the news a story around Facebook sharing DM information with Netflix. That wasn't something that we agreed to, wasn't something that we signed up for. And so that's just one of many reasons why there has to be a responsible alternative. And in addition to that, because I am uh, a son ever on the altar, of course, Fisk University had to be the first to have a virtual spot at home on the yard. And so, Coach, in this space, I really want to give you an opportunity to speak to the alumni. Can you give a little bit about your background and why you chose to be the first coach of this program?
My background, I was a gymnast. I was the first Black gymnast to attend the University of Georgia. It was quite a shock for me because I'm from New York, right next to the Bronx. So, sometimes you say New York, people think of upstate, but no, I was right outside of the Bronx in New York City. So it was definitely a culture shock to go to the South, and it wasn't always the most inviting space, although thoroughly enjoyed my time there, and I was able to navigate within the spaces. I understood that I had to kind of forge that space because it didn't exist before I got in there. So I was also the first Black gymnast to win the NCAA all around title. So again, that was a time when I didn't even realize it at the time. I mean, why? What? I mean, I always assumed there had been others. Just didn't make sense that there wouldn't be. A lot of the impact that some of the things that I did when I was an athlete, I didn't really grasp until later in life. And then I had an amazing opportunity where a friend of mine had come to me and said, "Hey, you're going to get a phone call from Fisk University." And I'd heard about Fisk adding a team and HBCU adding a gymnastics team. And I thought, wow, never thought in my lifetime I'd see that. And of course, when she said that, the first response I had was, "Where is Fisk?" Because I never looked into HBCUs because they didn't have gymnastics. Why would I?
Mm-hmm.
I knew the bigger ones, the ones that were in Georgia, obviously, the ones that were up north. I knew of those schools, but not most of the schools down south. So once they said Nashville, I said, okay, that I could live in Nashville. I could see myself there. Had some phone conversations. The first is with Frank Simmons, who is a board of trustee member. And he was the one that actually bought the sport and the idea of adding gymnastics to, Fisk, to the president, to the board of directors. And he, I'm not sure if you know the story behind how he added it or he
I,
brought the
I
story to them.
I know, but we can share a bit of it for the audience. I do believe that Uncle Frank deserves his flowers for sure.
I'm glad you call him. That's what most of the team calls him, Uncle Frank, as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he was having a conversation over Thanksgiving with his niece, who is Jordan Cromartie, who is on our team, and asked her if she applied to Fisk. She said no. He then asked if she applied to any other HBCU, and of course she said no. And he asked why, and she said because they don't have gymnastics, and I want to do gymnastics in college. And so that got his gears turning, and looked into it and talked to a couple of different people and kind of got a group together, or I should say he contacted some consultants, and they bought the idea to, like I said, the board and to the president. And by February, so that was November, by February, they announced they were adding a team. So it was pretty quick. And, it happened pretty quickly.
I believe I've heard. So that Frank really doesn't like giving himself any credit for anything. He kind of downplays everything. And so I've over time got bits and parts of the story. And once I started piecing it together, I was like, Frank, this is a movie. This is a book. This is, I can see revenue generating opportunity. And you guys have, straight out of the gates. What share with the audience where the media coverage that you guys have received so far over this short 2 years?
Well, last year was absolutely nuts. I'm not gonna lie. We had cameras in, and whether it's I think we were on every major morning news show. Jennifer Hudson. We have been on ESPN, Outside the Lines, CNN, you name it. Any major station we've been on. We did have a documentary made about us. I know they're shopping it around now, trying to find a home to get it shown. So when you talk about book or movie, we do have a documentary. We're just, like I said, looking for a home to see where it's going to be shown. But it was definitely a whirlwind. I did not expect it to be what it was. I can be honest. I knew it would be big. I knew we'd get a lot of publicity, but not to the extent that we did. And it was amazing. Year one, we had 5 athletes qualify to nationals, and we had 4 All-Americans. So considering there had not been an All-American at Fisk prior to that year, basketball had one with Maya Buchanan that year. And then we had 4. So to have 4 All-Americans in 1 year is absolutely, amazing. And so we have 5 athletes qualified again, which is, this whole podcast. So we're excited about where it's going to go.
Earlier in the conversation, when you said you got the phone call, that you said one of the thoughts that you had early on was, okay, so where is Fisk? And then we're talking about this media bonanza that's taken place, and the difference that's made. I could only, just hypothesize or think about how many people out there now know where is Fisk and why. It's because of you guys. And so we appreciate you guys. We want to make sure that from my end, I'm bringing together all the resources that I could possibly gather. And I believe I'm fairly gifted to be able to support those efforts. And so you talked about those 5 all-stars. I believe you called them, what was the proper term? All-Americans?
Well, the ones that once you go to nationals and they compete, then they can qualify as All-Americans based on their performance at nationals. So these are national qualifiers that we have here today, and then their goal is to become All-Americans as well.
So they are on
some for the second time, some for the first.
So they are on the path.
Yes.
And we feel good about that at this point in the season. Let's go ahead and bring on Morgan and Liberty. Give me 1 second here. Morgan Price and Liberty Grace Mora. Welcome to At Home on the Yard, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So you guys I would like for you guys to give an introduction of yourselves, your background. And then I also would like for you guys to tell us, 2 years, both of you guys are headed back to nationals. What have you seen as far as your growth year over year, moving into your second year? So I'll start off with you first, Liberty.
Okay. So I have done gymnastics my entire life. Probably started at the age of like seriously started around 2 years old. My mom was a coach, so I've always just been in the gym. I just had a great JO season. I really loved it. Life led me here to Fisk, and I'm so beyond grateful for that. I love it here. I love the community. I would say the first year was a big shift in my life. I really had to learn how to work. Like, it wasn't just an individual sport anymore. It was a team sport. We had to learn everybody, like, we had to get to know everybody and learn how everyone worked, and that was a really great experience. Unfortunately, this year I was coming off of an injury, so I didn't have much of a preseason, and that in this sport is very, very important. So I would say this year I had to really, it was very different for me. I feel like it was mentally different because I had to come back from the injury, and while I was injured, I had to support my team, not not physically, but like cheering wise and helping my teammates, but then also trying to get myself back on track to be able to reach my goals personally. So it was year one and year two were really different for me.
That's fantastic. I hear perseverance. I've after my 4 years there at Fisk, I've spent 20 years in corporate America, and going through those realities. And what I would say to you is, it's definitely going to take some perseverance. There's nothing in life that's easy. Should probably be accepted, because it takes pain and discomfort to grow. And so I hear that in the story that you share. Morgan, a little bit of background, and then what would you say about your growth?
Okay. My name's Morgan Price. I'm originally from Lebanon, Tennessee. I started gymnastics when I was 2 years old at Intrigue Athletics in Lebanon. A couple years passed. I moved to Dallas so that I could get better at gymnastics, and then I got a scholarship to Arkansas, but then I turned it down because I found out that there was an HBCU starting with the gymnastics team, and I've always wanted to go to an HBCU and do gymnastics at the same time. So I decommitted and committed to Fisk. Um, Okay, and so about my first year, I absolutely loved it. I had so much fun. In the beginning, it was like hard a little bit because I was like very homesick, but also like we had a whole new story. I mean, a whole new team, sorry, of 16 girls, and we all had to learn each other. No one knew anyone, so we definitely had to do a lot of team bonding, a lot of learning each other, and um, so that was like fun, exciting, and different. But season wise, it was super fun, and I was really proud of how I did my first season. Going into my second season, we had a lot of newcomers, and they definitely helped us a lot because last year we didn't have as much depth. Um, and so I feel like this year we progressed as a team, and I feel like I progressed individually, and I feel like I've had a pretty good year, and I'm excited for next weekend.
Fantastic, fantastic. I will say that I am super impressed, and for everybody that's watching, that horn sound is coming from a vehicle driving down Jefferson Street, which makes this at home on the yard experience even more real. So don't even put that on mute. I want to hear the sirens. I want to hear it all, because I'm here in Dallas and you guys get to be back home at Fisk on the yard. So I just had to say that because it's making me feel like I'm really there. Let's bring in Jada and Sanaya. Welcome, ladies. So for you all, would love for you guys to share your background as well. And then we want to talk about, if you guys would share, as freshmen headed to nationals, what's been the most rewarding part of the journey thus far for you? Jada, I'll start with you. You're on mute, by the way, if you're talking.
Sorry. So I started gymnastics a little later when I was like 9. And like coming into my senior year, I had like a bunch of mental blocks. So I didn't know if I was even going to be able to do gymnastics in college. And I actually like went to NC State for 2 years. And then I was able to come here and do gymnastics for my third year in college. And I feel like just like being here with the team has been like a really great experience and like meeting new people. And I feel like I've grown as a gymnast and like become more confident in myself and my skills.
That is fantastic. So started off at a PWI only to be welcomed home on the yard at Fisk University. I love it. I love it. Sanaya, am I saying your name right?
Yes.
Okay, so a little bit of your background, and if you could tell us the most rewarding part of the journey for you, that'd be great.
Okay. I started gymnastics late, like Jada did. I started around 7. I would say the biggest like impact for me is making it to nationals, of course, but like being able to come into a new team and like I bonded with everybody like automatically. So that was like a big thing for me.
You know, I'm hearing all of this, and it's just like excellence, excellence, excellence. And we haven't even mentioned the way that you guys rock out in the classroom. You know, I've heard the stories of the scholarly accomplishments that go along with all of the viral TikTok moments of you guys knocking it out of the park. Do you guys feel that accomplished? I'll throw that. I mean, it wasn't a question, but I'm just listening to. I'll throw that to Liberty. What do you feel?
I think, oh gosh, yeah, I would say so. I think it is. Like I feel very accomplished personally, but it is like I don't know. It's not mixed feelings, but it's like I don't know. Morgan, do you know what I'm trying to say or no?
I'm not sure what you're trying to say.
Yeah, like I mean, I think yes. I think I feel it's very accomplished. I feel proud of this team, proud of myself. It is. I mean, obviously, it is hard to soak in all of like we really have to go get our like happiness or get this emotion from the team because it we like when you say all these great things, it's so awesome, but it is hard to like really feel our accomplishment like when we don't have like our own gym. So I do think like it would be like, oh wow, we're doing this, and we now have our own gym, and now we have this. So we really are relying on the bond we have as a team to feel our accomplishments and to feel really good about ourselves because that's kind of like that's the one thing we do have is our community here. So that's really good. So I think yeah.
You know, that it's interesting you point that out because I don't think there's a single Fiskite that would not have to acknowledge that we could stand for some infrastructure improvements. And so what I can say to you guys is that we have things that we can see now in new dormitories and career development centers. So, you know, things are going in the right direction. And I also want to say that you guys have to be in the story that you guys are actually in the path that you're blazing, have to be a part of whatever plan to go out and deliver these incremental resources for those that are to come. But I would say everybody behind you agrees with you. they absolutely agree with you, and it's part of what makes our journey special. And so I think that's a beautiful answer, Coach. I want to jump to you, and you talked about the media blitz and all of the publicity and things that have been said. For you, when you get into a quiet space and you're thinking about your work in the team, what are you most proud of?
Oh, I mean, there's so many things. I'm proud of the fact that we were able to pull it together in such a small amount of time. Year one, 4 months to put an entire program together is unheard of. Most most of the time they give a year to get things together. So I'm proud of the fact that even though we had such a small amount of time and coming to Fisk, as excited as everyone was, they truly had no idea what gymnastics was about, what we needed, what it entailed. And we're still teaching them. I mean, we're still having to get them to understand what it is that we require, that we need, that is a part of our sport. But they came together and did an amazing job in year one. Um, they can tell you that when I was recruiting them, they asked me questions and I was like, look, I have no answers for you, but we're going to get it done. I was like, I don't know where we're working out. I don't know what time we're working out. I don't know what we're going to compete. I don't, they asked me a lot of questions and I said, listen, I just need you to take a leap of faith and know that we're going to do everything we possibly can to make this experience what it is you might hope to have between an HBCU and college gymnastics at the same time. I hope that they felt like they got that. I mean, obviously, we could always use more, always want more. That's where fundraising comes in, and anyone that wants to donate. The more we get donations, the more we can do for the team. But I hope that when they do graduate and step away, they can say that they, felt like they got the experience that they had, hoped that they would get from it. So I guess the thing that I am the most proud of is the fact that we were able to bring it together, that the team was able to be successful.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. I mean, obviously individually, the different athletes that did amazing things, but I guess, I look at it as a whole, as a team, and what we were able to accomplish as the team.
Anything other than the Cash App at the bottom of where people can support, you would like to say to directly to the alumni base around? I think in previous conversations you talked about operations or support when a team is traveling. What would you like to say in the moment to the alumni that's dispersed across the country?
Well, when I had said gymnastics was different from a lot of other sports, we travel we travel a lot further than our other teams because we do an NCAA schedule, not an NAIA schedule. So we're competing against, like, every single week we compete against NCAA Division I programs. We are competing against programs that are currently competing in an NCAA regional championships. We compete against teams that will be at the national championships. And we do that week in and week out. So it's not easy. I mean, they know I throw them in the deep end. I take them to the big stages because, when you're on the big stage with those other programs, as long as you get out there and do your gymnastics, you're going to be recognized for it. But that takes money. So for the alumni, our year one, we traveled to a lot of places that had really strong alumni bases, and they were amazing. The girls can talk about how amazing the alumni were, whether it was a reception, whether it was, paying for a bus when we got there, whether it was just paying for meals, you name it. We had, whether it's just coming to the meet. I mean, we had, there's still people that there's someone that talked to me really recently at a competition that we had in Nashville, and I'd never met the man before, but he came to me. He's like, wow, the team that actually sold out GW and Towson in the same weekend for the first time ever for them to have a sellout. And I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that. You know what I mean? That they had never had a sellout before, but because Fisk came, they did. So, when we go to those schools, one, they love us coming there because we bring fans, but also it exposes more people to the sport of gymnastics. But that takes money. Going to all those places, it's not cheap for us to be able to do that. So we hope that, this coming year, we're going to be hopefully doing more traveling again. This year we did travel, but we did more south. Next year, we're hopefully going to be going back to the northern areas. And so hopefully we'll have alumni participation. if we go to Washington, D.C., that's a goal to try to get back there. I know the DMV was upset we didn't come back this year. But so hopefully this next year in 25, we'll be able to get there. Also, the New York, New Jersey alumni chapter was amazing for us, and we hope to get back up there. So anything they can do, whether it's, again, getting us a bus when we get there, meals when we get there, coming to the meet and supporting us, or writing a check. And we have a fundraising account, just, like the normal fundraising account that I'm sure all the chapters know about. There is one for gymnastics as well. So those are ways in which people can always help. But like I said, if you want to do a direct one, it's like, when we come to town, we'll let everybody know, and they can, whether, like I said, a reception, a meal, a bus,
it's what I'm hearing is the options are unlimited. And I've already said that I am committed to helping with any gifts that I have. What I just heard you say is that we need to go and ask for every meet to provide us year-over-year numbers of attendance, so that we can look and see what that delta is. And then from there, we can now go and have a business case to go and ask for sponsorship, because this is the impact that the girls are bringing. And that's an opportunity and a follow-up action item for us. So I have that written down. So I'm going to be following up with you on that.
We have one more thing that we're looking to try to do this year. One of the biggest obstacles we have for home competitions is getting equipment. We have to rent equipment, and if they don't have the equipment, the companies, or if they're already booked out, then it makes it really difficult. So one of the ideas that I have talked with Ms. Adrienne Latham about is finding ways of getting sponsorship for equipment. So if a chapter or a class wants to buy an uneven bar or buy the balance beam for us, instead of asking for the entire, everything, which is very expensive, if it's only like you're buying just the bar, just the beam, and ways that we can honor those that donated, whether it's a class, whether individual person, whether it's a group of people, to say, have something on the equipment that says donated by. And then every time we have a home competition, you'll be able to see who donated the different pieces of equipment. So that is an initiative that we are looking to launch this coming year. We're realizing that we're going to have to do things in smaller increments. We had hoped that we would have a building and have a gym and be able to get the donations. But I think asking for such a big number sometimes becomes too much. So we're looking at doing smaller increments of, donating a beam, which may be, a beam may be $5,000. I don't know exactly how much it is. I'd have to look at it, but that's a more manageable number than saying we need $120,000 for the equipment. So that's going to be something that we're looking to do.
Can I say something also?
Sure.
I feel like another way like alumni could really help us is not just like athletic wise, but also academically wise, like internships or like coming to the academic affairs, like the career fairs and things like that.
I think that's an excellent point. And Morgan, I'll let you know I wrote that down as well. And so I'll be following up with you on how do we connect with alumni and be able to build that out. I mean, I think, you have a position and an amount of influence as well that could be valuable to other places that provide opportunities. For example, here in the comments, we have a childhood friend of mine. Her name is Miss Brooke Jones, Hart Jones. I believe is hyphenated. So Brooke, forgive me if I'm wrong. I knew her as Brooke Shayna Hart growing up. She's a Hampton alum, and she's also the founder of HBCU Dolls. And so I don't know if you guys have seen these dolls or not, but she's the one who came and developed that. And my daughter, who you guys met earlier before we got started, she actually has one that's a Fisk cheerleader. And so when we talk about opportunities to collaborate and think about internships and be outside of the box, this is what the value of building community is, because I can get Morgan, Jada, Sanaya, Liberty, Coach on the phone with Brooke today. And we can start to figure out what there is to explore. And anyone else who wants to participate on behalf of humanity to make sure that Fisk and the young ladies are properly provided for what they're doing for our university can participate as well. And so that's really what this is about when we think about integration and having a space that is about your rhythm rather than algorithm. And what I mean by that is, and I just want to make sure that in this space, I kind of explain some of this. I feel like it's my responsibility as a technologist, is we're all playing in these social media spaces, and there's an algorithm that, one, we don't know the rules to, and two, they tell us that they need for us to pay $14.99 to prove to people who we are. And so I can tell you that your bank account doesn't charge you to prove who you are, because they know your IP address. And so do the social media companies, but they just, for whatever reason, decided to kind of give us a little bit of misleading information to increase their revenues. And so now the question becomes, do we want to maintain a relationship exclusively with a business partner that has an integrity issue? Or would we like to build them as a part of the strategy and then also have an alternative that is responsible? And so right now, when you ask somebody to join integration, they'll be able to see you without an algorithm if that's what they choose. And we believe that's a great start, because now that's a value to sponsorships as well. So as we grow and we have the Fisk University gymnastics space there, we'll be able to say, this is how many people come, this is how many people log in, and now that data can be monetized. And so you guys are doing a great job of putting us in a position to be able to think that way, because you're actually going out and performing at a very high level. I commend you again and again. And I think although Liberty said it's kind of hard to feel, and I understand that, because you guys are there in the pain of suffering what it takes to achieve every day. It's supposed to be difficult. And you guys are persevering through that. And I think it's beautiful. Coach, I want to wrap this up. I want to ask, why do you think it's important? And I think it's along the same lines, but I just want to give you an opportunity to talk to the alumni about why it's important to share this podcast or any other content that you guys are featured in.
Well, I mean, obviously, we want to get more exposure. The more exposure we have, the more we are able to not just expose the athletes, but Fisk University as a whole. So I think that helps. It's going to help us with things like when we have home competitions, getting more people to come out and watch the competitions. And I mean, it really kind of has that overall effect when people come back. They see gymnastics is great, but then they think, oh, well, you know what? We see that there's a new business school coming. Maybe we'll donate to help that. Or we see a new dorm, so we'll come back. People get excited about all that's happening on Fisk campus, not just the gymnastics team. But if the gymnastics team is able to help bring people back into the fold or bring new people into the fold, then we have accomplished what we need to help the university as a whole. And I know that that's something last year, I heard that quite a lot. People that we met, whether we were in Michigan or in New York, that said, I haven't been back since I graduated, but I'm coming back now because I'm excited about this new gymnastics program. Well, then they come back and then they see the new dorm and then they get excited about growth. And then they see the new career center and I see that they're building the science building and they get excited that Fisk is actually moving forward. So then they're excited about Fisk again as a whole. So I think that that's we're a small part of a bigger picture, but if we're able to expose people to the bigger picture, then we've done a lot.
I would agree. I would agree. And my hope is that we continue to build momentum. I think that's something that we can control. I think we have a hell of a physics department that's over just across the way on the other side of the yard, and they could, Dr. Collins would say, some type of brainiac physics thing that would agree with the more people that join together and head towards something, the more the impact or the force that's generated. And so you guys, like you said, you're a part of the strategy. We're very, very proud. I want to thank you guys for trusting me and At Home on the Yard to come and share the story. My hope and my prayer and my vision is that this is just the beginning of us serving and partnering and collaborating. To everyone out there in the audience, I want to say that this has been streamed live on Instagram. No, I'm sorry, on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And after this is over, the post-production piece will be placed inside of the Fisk University At Home on the Yard space within the Once Integration community. Ladies, again, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to go tell all my friends that I met you all, and that I'm gonna now be bragging to the rest of the alumni to say, hey, I know the girls, and we're cool. So when we see each other on the yard, we're gonna dap up and keep it moving. And anything you guys need, you're gonna be hearing from me. I'll be following up because I'm a doer, and I believe that by doing, we're able to share our light, we're able to share our energy, and we're able to attract others to help participate in delivering the vision that we're all collectively wanting to see. And so I'm going to end there. Thank you guys again.
Can I real quick? Sorry. We wanted to invite anyone, any alum, anyone that's actually out there who are going to be in the Pennsylvania area to come to see the girls at nationals. It is at Westchester University. They will all be competing on Friday. This coming Friday. Every one of them will be competing. There's 2 sessions. So some are in the early session, some are in the second. Jada and Sanaya will be in the second session. And then Morgan, Liberty, and Ali will be in the first session. I believe it's at 2:00. So we do want anyone that's in the area to please come out, please support them. We love to see them wearing Fisk gear. So seeing Fiskites in the audience does a lot to help the girls. It gets them excited about just competing, because they know that they have support, even though we're going to be really far away from home. We'll be up in Pennsylvania. So please, anyone that's in the area, if you go to Westchester University Gymnastics webpage, they have, I'm pretty sure when you open up the page, it talks about nationals and how you can buy tickets. So we invite everyone to come on out. And we're always looking for, if anyone wants to host us while we're there, they can always email me at ctarver@fisk.edu, and we can set something up.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I will make sure to include that in the post-production, telling people about the Westchester University site and how they can get tickets and where the details are. Again, you guys, marvelous, marvelous, marvelous. Round of applause for you all. Thanks for joining. This has been an episode of At Home on the Yard. Peace.